My wife was laughing among our friends, cracking jokes at my expense as if I were nothing more than an insignificant addition to her life. Hours later, she sent me a message that read, "You know I love you, don't you?" Those words marked the beginning of the mask slipping. Friday night was supposed to be simple. Emily and I were heading to the Ivy, a spot we often visited with our group of friends. I wasn't in the mood to socialize. Honestly, work had been eating at me, and I wanted nothing more than to stay home, crack open a beer, and binge something brainless. But Emily had insisted. "We need to get out more, Jack," she said, already slipping into her sleek black dress and applying her signature red lipstick. Her tone didn't leave room for argument. By the time we arrived, the place was buzzing. Our usual group was there: Chloe, Emily's best friend, always overly dramatic, Jason, the loud joker, and a few others who floated in and out of the circle. Emily, as usual, stole the spotlight. She glided through conversations, laughing and leaning in just a bit too close to people. She was magnetic. She knew it. I tried to join in, but it was like I was invisible. Every joke I made landed flat. Every time I tried to start a conversation, Emily would cut in with something sharper, something that would pull the attention back to her. It wasn't unusual for her to dominate the room, but tonight it felt different. Her laughter was louder, her touches lingered longer, and her eyes, they didn't land on me once. Halfway through the night, I noticed her phone. It sat face down on the table, buzzing intermittently. Each time, Emily would glance at it and smile, a smile I hadn't seen directed at me in months. She didn't pick it up, though, just let it buzz like she was savoring some private joke. "Who keeps texting you?" I asked, trying to sound casual. Emily didn't even look up. "Work stuff." At this hour, she finally glanced at me, her eyes cold and dismissive. "It's a campaign. Deadlines don't clock out, Jack. Can we not?" I let it drop, but something twisted in my gut. Then came the toast. Emily stood abruptly, clinking her glass with a spoon. Everyone turned toward her, expecting a funny story or one of her usual sharp-witted roasts. Instead, she raised her glass and said, "To Jack, the man who, well, honestly puts up with more than anyone should. Cheers to patience." The room fell silent for a beat before Jason broke it with a forced laugh. The others followed, but I wasn't laughing. I was frozen. Her words weren't playful. They were pointed, dripping with some inside joke I wasn't privy to. I wanted to call her out right then and there, but the room was watching, waiting for my reaction. So I plastered on a thin smile and raised my glass. Inside, I felt like I'd been slapped. When she finally sat down, I leaned in close. "What the hell was that about?" She didn't even flinch. "Relax, Jack. It's a joke. You need to lighten up. Humiliating me in front of our friends is a joke?" Before she could answer, her phone buzzed again. She grabbed it this time, her thumb moving quickly across the screen as she typed. "I need some air," I muttered, standing abruptly. I walked outside into the cool night, the murmur of the bar fading as I stepped further away. My mind was racing. Was I overreacting? Maybe I was just being paranoid. But that toast, it wasn't normal. Before I could piece my thoughts together, my phone vibrated in my pocket. A message from Emily: "Are you okay? You know I love you, right?" I stared at the screen, my pulse quickening. The words were hollow, wrong, like she was trying to placate me instead of actually caring. And for the first time, I didn't reply. Something was happening, something she wasn't telling me, and I was going to find out what it was. After Emily's half-hearted text, I walked back into the bar. The air inside felt different now, like a room where everyone knew a secret except me. Emily was back at the table, her phone conspicuously absent. She was deep in conversation with Chloe, who kept glancing at me with an odd mix of amusement and pity. Whatever they were talking about, I wasn't supposed to hear it. Jason flagged me down with a wave. "Jack, man, grab another drink, you look like you've seen a ghost." I forced a chuckle and waved him off. Heading straight to the bar, I ordered a whiskey, something to steel my nerves, and kept my eyes on Emily. Her laugh carried over the crowd, sharp and pointed. It wasn't for me. I wasn't sure what I was looking for. Maybe a crack in her facade, a slip that would explain why everything suddenly felt so off. And then I saw it. Chloe slid Emily's phone across the table. Emily looked at it for a split second, then quickly turned it face down again, biting her lip as if to stifle a smile. I couldn't take it anymore. I walked over, my heart pounding, and leaned in. "We are leaving now." Emily looked up, her expression blank. "We just got here, don't be such a buzzkill." Chloe smirked, sipping her drink. "Oh, come on, Jack, let her have some fun, she's been working so hard lately." That pushed me over the edge. "Emily, let's go, or I will." She rolled her eyes, tossing her napkin onto the table. "Fine, if it's that important to you." We left without saying goodbye to anyone, her heels clicking sharply against the pavement as we walked to the car. The silence between us was suffocating. When we got in, she crossed her arms, staring out the window like a scolded teenager. "What the hell is going on, Emily?" I finally said. She turned to me, her eyes narrowing. "What are you talking about?" "Don't play dumb, the toast, the texts, the way you've been acting for weeks. What's going on?" Her lips curled into a smile, a cruel one. "God, Jack, you're so paranoid. Not everything is about you, you know." I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles white. "Then what is it about?" "Because it sure as hell feels like you're hiding something." She didn't answer. Instead, she turned her head back to the window, dismissing me entirely. I clenched my teeth and started the car. When we got home, Emily went straight to the bathroom, locking the door behind her. I stood in the living room, staring at her purse, which she tossed carelessly onto the couch. My hands were shaking, my mind racing. I don't know what came over me, but I opened it. Her phone wasn't there. Of course, she'd taken it with her, but her work tablet was, and it was unlocked. I hesitated for a moment, my conscience screaming at me to stop, but that little voice, the one that said, "You already know something's wrong, Jack, just confirm it," was louder. I opened her messages. Nothing, email, all work-related. I was about to close it when I noticed an app, one I didn't recognize, something innocuous looking, a name I'd never seen before. I tapped it, and my blood ran cold. The first message I saw was from a number with no name saved, him. "Last night was amazing, can't stop thinking about you. Emily, me too, same time next week?" I scrolled up, my hands trembling. The messages were blatant, leaving no room for misinterpretation. Every line was like a dagger, confirming what I had been too afraid to say out loud. And then I heard the bathroom door unlock. Emily walked into the living room, drying her hands on a towel, and froze when she saw me holding her tablet. Her eyes darted to the screen. "What the hell are you doing?" she snapped, her voice sharp. I stood up, my chest heaving. What is this, Emily?" I held the tablet out, the messages glaring back at her. Her expression flickered just for a moment before settling into something cold, detached. She crossed her arms, her lip curling into that same cruel smile. "Are you seriously going through my stuff now? God, Jack, you're pathetic. Don't you dare turn this on me," I growled. "You've been lying to me, for how long, Emily? Weeks? Months?" Her silence was deafening, then she shrugged, her tone icy. "Does it matter?" That was the moment my world shattered. Update. Part 2, does it matter? Her words hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. I stared at Emily, barely able to comprehend what she had just said. My chest felt tight, my hand still gripping the tablet like it was the only thing keeping me upright. "What the hell does that mean, Emily?" "Of course, it matters." She rolled her eyes like this was some minor inconvenience for her. "Jack, you're overreacting, it's not a big deal." I could feel the heat rising in my face. "Not a big deal? You're sneaking around behind my back, messaging some guy about whatever this is, and you think it's not a big deal?" Her smile returned, sharp and condescending. "Okay, fine, you want the truth?" "Yes, I've been seeing someone, and honestly, I don't even know why you're so shocked. You've been checked out for months." I took a step back like her words had physically hit me. "Checked out? Are you serious? I've been working my ass off to keep this house, this life, us together, meanwhile, you're off doing this?" I held up the tablet, shaking it for emphasis. Emily shrugged again, unbothered. "Well, maybe if you'd paid a little more attention to me, I wouldn't have had to look elsewhere." That was it, something inside me snapped. I slammed the tablet down on the coffee table, the sound echoing through the room. "Don't you dare try to pin this on me. You made this choice, Emily, you decided to lie, to betray me, that's on you." She didn't flinch, her expression stone cold. "Oh, spare me the self-righteous act, Jack, you're not exactly a saint. You've been so obsessed with your precious job that you didn't even notice I was unhappy. You don't talk to me, you don't make me feel wanted. What did you expect?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Unhappy? "You could have talked to me, Emily, told me how you felt. You didn't have to blow up our marriage because you were feeling neglected." Emily laughed, a bitter, humorless sound. "Talk to you? Please, you don't listen, Jack, you just nod and go back to your emails or whatever else is so important to you. Face it, we've been done for a while, you're just too blind to see it." Her words felt like knives, each one cutting deeper than the last. My legs gave out, and I sank into the armchair, staring at her in disbelief. "So that's it, you've just decided it's over, and instead of telling me, you sneak around behind my back. Was it worth it, Emily? Was he worth it?" For the first time, her confidence wavered. She looked away, her jaw tightening. "I don't owe you an explanation." "Like hell you don't," I shouted, standing up again. "Who is he? Tell me." She hesitated, then let out a long sigh as if she were bored with the whole conversation. "Fine, if you must know, it's Matt, from work." "Matt?" I knew him. He was one of the marketing guys Emily occasionally mentioned, someone she'd always described as harmless and kind of a dork. My fists clenched at the thought of him, smug and oblivious, texting my wife while I was busting my ass to keep us afloat. "That's who you're risking everything for? Matt?" My voice dripped with disbelief. Emily smirked. "He listens to me, Jack, he makes me feel appreciated, something you clearly forgot how to do." Her words were venom, and I was choking on it. "Appreciated? You think he appreciates you? He's using you, Emily, just like you're using him, and when this all blows up in your face, don't come crawling back to me." For the first time, she looked genuinely angry. "You think you're so much better, don't you? Like you're some perfect husband. Newsflash, Jack, you're not. You're boring, predictable, and frankly exhausting. I needed something more." I felt like the floor was crumbling beneath me. This wasn't just betrayal, it was complete annihilation of everything I thought we had. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. "You were unbelievable, you've destroyed us, Emily, and for what? For someone who's probably already planning his next fling." She shrugged again, that infuriating indifference returning. "Maybe he is, maybe he isn't, at least with him, I feel alive." Alive, that word echoed in my mind, mocking me. "Get out," I said, my voice low and cold. Her eyebrows shot up. "Excuse me?" I said, "Get out, Emily, go stay with your precious Matt, go feel alive with him, just get out of my house." For a moment, she looked like she might argue, then she grabbed her purse and her keys, her movements deliberate and slow. "Fine, I'll go, but don't think for a second this is all on me, Jack, you pushed me to this." I didn't respond, couldn't, I just watched as she walked out the door, slamming it behind her. The silence that followed was deafening. I sat back down, staring at the tablet on the table, the messages still glaring at me like a wound that refused to heal, and for the first time in years, I felt completely and utterly alone. The house was eerily silent. The next morning, Emily's perfume still lingered faintly in the air, a mocking reminder that she had once been here, walking these same floors, sharing this life. Now she was gone, off to wherever Matt was, I assumed. I barely slept. My mind raced all night, replaying every word, every moment from the argument, her indifference, her cruel smile, the way she walked out as if this was just another petty fight and not the total obliteration of our marriage. It was like she'd been planning her exit for months, and I had just caught up. By 7 a.m., I couldn't stand lying in bed any longer. I got up, pulled on an old hoodie, and went to the kitchen. The coffee pot sputtered weakly as it brewed, and I stared blankly at it, my thoughts looping. Was I truly that blind? Had I missed all the signs, or had Emily just gotten that good at lying? Then my phone buzzed. I grabbed it instinctively, hoping for, I don't even know what, an apology, a shred of guilt. Instead, it was a text from Jason. Dude, are you okay? Last night was intense. I didn't respond. What could I say? Instead, I scrolled through my contacts, stopping on Chloe's name. Something about her smug little smile at the bar stuck with me. She knew, she had too. Before I could overthink it, I called. Jack. Chloe answered, her voice groggy. It's early, what's up? You tell me, I said flatly. You seemed pretty cozy with Emily last night. Care to fill me in on what the hell is going on? There was a pause, then a sigh. Jack, I don't want to get involved in this. It's between you and Emily. Don't pull that crap, Chloe, I snapped. You've been her best friend for years. You knew about Matt, didn't you? Another pause, longer this time. Then, look, Emily told me some things in confidence. I didn't think it was my place to say anything. So you just sat there, smiling like the cat who swallowed the canary while she made a fool out of me? My voice rose despite my efforts to stay calm. Chloe groaned. Jack, don't do this. You've got your side of the story, but Emily, she's been unhappy for a long time. You had to see this coming. The words hit like a punch to the gut. See it coming? What are you even talking about? She felt ignored. Jack, like she didn't matter. You were so wrapped up in your own world that you didn't notice hers falling apart. That's no excuse, I snapped. If she was unhappy, she could have talked to me instead of running off to some sleazeball from work. Maybe she should have, Chloe said, her tone sharper now, but let's not pretend you're blameless here. Relationships take two, Jack. I couldn't take it anymore. You know what? Forget it, enjoy covering for her. You're just as bad as she is. I hung up before she could respond, my heart pounding. The room felt smaller, suffocating. Chloe's words echoed in my mind, mixing with Emily's from the night before. Was I really the problem? Had I missed something so obvious? But no, this wasn't on me. I didn't betray her, I didn't lie, sneak around, or humiliate her in front of our friends. I wasn't perfect, sure, but I didn't deserve this. The anger started bubbling up again, and I grabbed my phone, scrolling down to Emily's contact. My finger hovered over the call button. Part of me wanted to scream at her, demand answers, force her to confront the mess she'd made. Instead, I texted, you were going to come by and get your stuff. Tell me when. I don't want to see you, so make sure I'm not here. Her response came almost immediately. I'll figure it out. Don't worry, I don't want to see you either. That one hurt more than I expected. Even now, she couldn't muster an ounce of regret or kindness. I stared at the screen for a long time, the coffee in my mug growing cold. For the first time since all this started, I felt something heavier than anger, heavier than betrayal. I felt grief. Grief for the life we built, for the person I thought she was, for the version of me that believed in us even when the cracks started to show. And as the morning light streamed through the window, I realized this wasn't just the end of my marriage, it was the end of who I'd been for the last 6 years.
After listening to today's story, perhaps it has raised some new questions in your mind, or maybe it has brought back some old memories. Every day on Reddit, new experiences and moments create fresh stories, and they connect all of us. Everyone has their own unique journey in life, and we all try to understand the world in our own way. These kinds of moments remind us that we are all human, sometimes happy, sometimes sad, and always learning something new. If you enjoyed this story, feel free to share it with your friends. Your thoughts and feedback are always valuable to us, as they motivate us to create even better content. Every story has its own unique angle, and our goal is to understand everyone's perspective and make our content diverse and relatable. Stories like these help us realize that life's journey is different for everyone, and by hearing other stories, we learn something new. You can also share your own stories with us. Your experiences are valuable to us as well, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave your feedback. We aim to create content that brightens your mind and gives you new ideas every time. If you've already seen this video before, your feedback is still important. With every piece of feedback, we can improve our content and bring a new perspective to our viewers. Today, what we saw was just a small part of the many stories shared on Reddit and across the world. It's a reminder of how we all try to understand life by sharing our experiences with each other. This video was only an example of how we try to connect with others through storytelling, learning about different sides of life. We hope to continue sharing such stories that help us all learn and grow together. Thank you for your time, and don't forget to keep an eye out for more stories coming soon. If you haven't already, please like and follow for more amazing content. Your support keeps us going, and we will strive to bring you more thought-provoking and heartwarming stories. Until next time, take care and stay curious. **